Greetings, film freaks. We are the Podcorn Kernels. Join us as we discuss the hard and often indigestible truths that are at the center of the fluffy and delicious world of cinema. Season 2.
What's poppin', people? Welcome to the Podcorn Kernels podcast. My name is Adam, and joining me in your earholes is Harry. Say hello, Harry.
In breaking news, the first follically challenged man to have received a full and successful hair transplant has been found dead at a little supermarket car park in Bradford. It is rumoured that Russell Goldenlocks was a member of the National Front. No witnesses have come forward at this time.
On today's episode, we will be talking about The Zone of Interest. This is a 2023 film directed by Jonathan Glazer and stars Christian Friedel, Sandra Huller and Max Beck. IMDb describes the synopsis as follows. Auschwitz Commandant Rudolf Höss and his wife Hedwig strive to build a dream life for their family in a house and garden beside the camp. Here is an original song to support the synopsis, but not from us. This week's original song is from Joseph Wolf, a musician who survived Auschwitz. This is his music and his words.
Von Joseph Wolf, geschrieben 1943 in Oswiecim, Auschwitz III. Sonnenstrahlen, leichten warmen, Menschenskufin, Kind und Haus. Und mir du, Eingeschlossene, unser Herz ist doch nicht kalt. Nicht es Flammen, wie die Sonne allein, reißen, brechen, trotz der Pein, weil es flattert scheu. Hat die von der Freiheit, was kommt
Let's start with some facts about the film. The sound of constant revving of an unseen motorcycle engine heard from a distance several times throughout the outdoor scenes is a fact from real life. The main character of the movie, Auschwitz commander Rudolf Höss, hired a person just to rev the engine in order to overshadow the horror of screams and gunshots coming from the camp.
I don't think that would overshadow it.
I don't think anything could overshadow it.
You hear a bike in the distance, it just rumbles against the hills. I don't think it would muffle the sound of a child's scream or a woman's guttural, they're about to kill my child scream. It's an odd way to hide something. And to try and disguise and hide something means that you sort of know it's wrong.
It's exactly that. If he's got someone employed to keep a constant sound on to distract him from what he knows is the harsh realities, somewhere within his conscious, within himself, he's like, this is awful. I can't keep hearing this.
That guy had the best job.
The rev guy.
Think about it. I can be outside them walls. I'm not fully involved in seeing or participating in what's going on. What's your job, mate? What's on your CV? I drove around the camp to disguise the sound of people dying.
I mean, in terms of occupations in that environment, that's a pick of an awful bunch. Like, yeah, I rev a motorbike, but still, I'd argue you're complicit in whatever you're doing because you know that's happening. And the film does a great job in that. It sort of offers that perspective of people doing what they can to distract from what's literally happening in their doorstep. Yeah, that fact is, all the facts I've read about this are really sort of deep and profound. And the thought that the guy that's calling all the shots doesn't want to, I guess when he's finished his day, like all of us, we want to unwind. But imagine unwinding from that. Imagine going, I only want to deal with that in my 9 till 5. But when I'm at home, I don't want to have to hear it. Imagine being complicit and wanting to distract your home time from that. But being absolutely fine at carrying it out while you're working. It's fucking madness.
I know there was labour crews in the sub-camps. Like if you were lucky enough to be in a labour crew, because that meant basically you missed the death selection at the start when you arrived. They would tell them as you move between camps and you walk around, you have to smile, laugh and sing.
Wow.
To make other people feel comfort. or to feel like they're not about to die or get gassed. So it was all an illusion.
Jesus
Christ. They would tell people that they're just going for a shower, take all their clothes off, shave their hair, take all their shoes, take everything.
Mate, whenever I watch anything to do with the Holocaust, whether it's documentary, TV series, film, talk about it, I can't ever truly fathom like the horrors and the nuances of it and what people had to do, people were forced to do, what they saw, what they lived through, how they died. It's something I personally can't ever wrap my head around.
I don't know of any other time in history as shocking as that. A lot of people would say British Empire did exactly as we didn't. We didn't systematically try to destroy an ethnicity and gas them in chambers. We had concentration camps in South Africa during the Boer War, but that is what they were. They were concentration camps. People suffered. Some of them did starve. Yeah, quite sure of it. So we do have our own crimes, but the intention was never to systematically destroy an ethnicity. Like that's I wouldn't say it's unique. It's happened. Ottoman Empire tried to do it to Albanians, I think, or something. Azerbaijan, one of them countries. Genocides happened throughout history, but this one, the fact that they tried to hide it. Yeah. Now they even during the collapse of Nazi Germany, the Third Reich, they would destroy the camps and try and burn the evidence because they knew. It's just weird. You're losing a war. You know you've lost the war. The minute Stalingrad happened and the Sixth Army got surrounded and destroyed, it was fucked. They were done. Yeah. And they were basically retreating all the way back to Germany, Berlin. They knew they were going to lose the war, but they still tried to hide the evidence. It's like, why?
Yeah, we all know what you've done. The evidence is there. You try to eradicate a specific group of people in the most awful way possible. I mean, there's not a good way to eradicate a group of people.
I mean, it's mad. Yeah, you could find a million reasons as to why Hitler lost the war, and one of them, the main one, was he was so weirdly preoccupied with this fucking odd prejudice that rather than focus on whatever he called, land in the east or Lebensraum, whatever they called it, room to breathe. He focused on trying to eradicate an ethnicity rather than his military goals. It was just, you'd look at him and you think, you're a fucking moron.
Yeah.
You're a moron.
I definitely do think
But to try and destroy the evidence, mad. And the whole time, like you're saying, like the bike, trying to disguise what's happening. Yeah. What a weird way to conduct your military goals. I don't know, very strange.
It's fucking mad. And it's worth saying, I wanted to get this early within the podcast. This is going to be a very difficult film to do a podcast episode on. I mean, that much is obvious when you look at the subject matter.
Because it's not hilarious.
Well, yeah, you can't really make light of a film like this.
No.
But I am fascinated to hear your take on this because you are a history guy. And that's something I've always admired about you is how much you know about history. So whenever we sort of breach topics that are even mildly relatable to something like this, I'm always fascinated to what you have to say because you know so much more about it.
Well, I appreciate that, Adam, and I did study at Wikipedia, so I think I got something to say.
You got a first at
I got a first
at Wikipedia, right?
Yeah, on Wikipedia.
So you are the go-to man.
Yeah. I donate. I think 3-4 years ago I donated £4 to Wikipedia, man.
And look at them now.
Look at them now.
Flourishing. Due to the unconventional multi-camera setup, Glazer and his team had over 800 hours of raw footage at the start of the editing process.
All stills as well, pretty much. Yeah. Like, nothing. There's no zooms in this. I think there's one tracking shot that runs alongside Hedwig as she moves through the garden, but there's not very much camera movement. Every shot is very still.
And that's deliberate, isn't it?
I think so, because he's framing it on photos that he looked at of the garden. My God, did they recreate the garden?
Really?
Exactly the same.
That's
pole, everything. That's impressive.
That's smart. I think that to showcase a film like this with such stillness amongst the madness and chaos that is just happening on the other side of the wall, it speaks to like polar opposites, and the film does a lot of that. And the fact that they had to sieve through 800 hours of footage to make it less than 2 hour film, like the fucking subject matter is depressing as fuck. Obviously it is, but to have to go through that much footage to get just the right footage must have been a slog.
I bet, yeah, and very hard to let go of something you love, but if it doesn't jive with the plot or the flow, then you've got to let it go.
Yeah,
I hate that. There was a good expression regarding it's very hard to let a bad idea go if you're emotionally attached to it.
So true. So true. Alexandria, the young Polish girl leaving apples for the starving prisoners, was 90 years old when she met Glazer and died shortly after. The bike the film uses and the dress the actress wears both belong to her.
She leaves the apples in the camp for the workers, doesn't she?
Yeah. Now, in a film that's wrought with the most inhumane shit conceivable, the fact that there was a young lady back in the day that was putting her life at risk to try and give little bits of hope to those poor souls within the concentration camp is amazing.
Polish resistance.
And the fact that Glazer got to meet this woman and, you know, hear what it was for her to do that, and then go one step further to get another layer of authenticity and use the bike and the dress. It's just, yeah, like, it's mad, isn't it?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How weird for the actor who portrayed her on screen to wear the dress.
Yeah.
To be on the bike. My God.
It's mad, isn't it?
You're on a piece of history. Oh.
Yeah, and for me, like, to have someone that young, to have that strength and that compassion to be able to do something that was highly risky, very illegal at the time.
They would have killed her.
Yeah, exactly. Without a doubt. Without hesitation as well, I think.
Yeah.
And just to try and give them an extra day, an extra hour, an extra minute, just by giving them something they can eat is just, wow, amazing.
That is amazing.
What did you like about the zone of interest?
It's all ambience and juxtaposition.
Yeah.
Rudolph Hirsch's kids playing what I looked at as like a Wes Anderson type garden. The way it's laid out, the way they shoot it. And in the background is like the steam from an Auschwitz train dropping off more victims to the Nazi liquidation machine. What you don't see is powerful. And you told me that because you watched it before me. Like, it's what you hear.
Yeah.
You said listening in this film's like really important, which is rare. You don't really get that in many films.
Yeah.
I've not seen a film where listening's very important.
Yeah, for me, it's one of the few instances where I'm, as mentioned before, I won't go into it too much. Our neighbours are arseholes, so we have to use headphones. This is one of the few films where I'm like, wow, I'm glad that I actually had to use headphones, because you are absorbing so much more when it's right in your ear. And don't get me wrong, the things you're absorbing are awful, because you know what those things are. You know enough of history to know what it is that you're hearing. But to have it right in your ear, I would say you wouldn't hear as much if you didn't have those headphones. And like you, I can't think of a film anyway where I've been like, where's that sound coming from? And looking and hearing and looking for the things I can hear, but not being able to see them. It's a feat.
So I'm specifically talking about the ambience, the sounds off shot.
Yes.
I didn't mean I can't think in films where listening is important. Of course, listening to what dialogue,
of course, yeah.
Yeah, so when you hear like gunshots off screen or screaming and stuff, sometimes the actors you're watching on screen are showing their registration of hearing it. It registers.
Yes.
And some people, it also allows you into their moral compass.
Yeah.
Like Hedwig's mother, she instantly starts to feel something odd's going on.
Yeah.
I don't think she was a bit ignorant to what actually was there. And she leaves in the film. She leaves without saying goodbye in person. She disappears. And it's because what she hears in screen is what you should be hearing. So listening in this film is extremely important. You know the infrared shots?
Yes.
I thought that was amazing.
Yep.
So when Adam was talking about this 12-year-old Alexandria girl, her shots are shot in infrared. And it's like an inverse world. It's black and white infrared.
Yeah.
And it's to show her world being different from the world behind the wall.
Yep.
And what she's doing, like, it's yin and yang. I thought that was really cool. Took me off guard when it first happened.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Why is this film all of a sudden gone black and white infrared? And then I realised it's because one's trying to help. And in all the other shots, they're trying to destroy.
It's what you said. It's that juxtaposition, isn't it? And if you allow me, because that's a point that I'm really gagging to get out as well.
Yeah,
is that
jump on that train.
I'm jumping on that juxtaposition train. Yeah. And have I been waiting for an opportune moment to use my newfound understanding of the term in this very podcast? Absolutely. This being said, the way in which the zone of interest portrays hell-worthy horror so close to a happy home is the best use of showing conflicting themes and contrasting ideas that I can remember ever seeing. The thought that people could settle adjacent to Auschwitz honestly shook me to my core, and the use of such a deeply harrowing juxtaposition in a 12A rated film is nothing short of extraordinary.
Yeah.
And like you said, like there's so many examples of juxtaposition within this film. You've got the beautiful garden, and then just behind it, you've got the chambers kicking out smoke, just there.
You're fishing and a jawbone goes past.
You've got, exactly. And you've got that young girl giving fruit to those poor souls within the camp. in night vision because it's a completely different world. So it's seen under a different gaze. There's just so many examples of it throughout the film.
It's weird, isn't it? You don't see violence, but you feel it. You experience violence in this film.
Yeah.
But you don't see it.
It's mad, isn't it? I can't... Whenever I watch a film, I'm like, oh, that was like this. Or, oh, this reminds me of that. I couldn't do it with this film.
No.
It felt so uniquely different.
A weird like for me is because you don't tend to see it, but being sad that you have to leave one of the most hellish, mad places on earth was a great indicator of their delusion and inhumanity.
Yeah.
And if you allow it, I will quote from Book 9, Dust of Dreams, of the Malazan Book of the Fallen by Stephen Erickson, a book that I'm currently reading, which I'm consistently telling you, Adam, I'm on Book 6, Adam, I'm on Book 7.
Yeah.
But I literally saw this quote 3 nights ago, so after I watched this movie. We deny the value of everything we destroy, which serves to make its destruction easier on our consciences. And that's in the Malazan, and I read that and I thought that's so true.
Yeah.
They have to believe that the Jewish people and homosexuals, Jehovah's Witnesses, offer no value. It makes it easier to kill them.
Yeah.
That they're a curse, a plague on humanity.
Well, they're diagnosing themselves ignorance to be able to deal with it, right?
Yeah, and hence why Rudolf Höss and his wife can be in that place and hate the fact that they might have to leave their home, which is next to 2.5 million Jews being killed.
Yeah.
That's like, that's amazing. And to show that in a film is really clever because I find it highly interesting that they didn't want to leave their house. That's weird.
I guess they're leaning into the luxury of that house and are focusing on the fact they've got this amazing space and ignore the fact that it's next to complete hell. I don't know how anyone could do it.
Well, they've conditioned themselves to believe that they're only destroying parasites, and they put value in the house, its size, the garden, the luxuries that come with it. And I just find that fascinating because I don't know how you could enjoy a Ferrari and your mansion if it's next to a sewer. Like, you get what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's another juxtaposition, isn't it?
Yeah. A lot of my likes in this are like to do with little moments in the film and the way things play out. So I found him reading Hansel and Gretel to the kids. And in Hansel and Gretel, it's about cooking someone alive in an oven. When you do that for a living.
Fucking hell, I didn't even think of that.
Is a bold bring your parents to school day. Like, what does Heidi's dad do? Well, you know the story of Hansel and Gretel? Like, that's mad. He's reading a story about a kid that pushes a witch into an oven and cooks her in an oven, essentially, or furnaces her. And he's reading that story to his kid. Another one, the mum, Heidi, puts her letter from her mum who's just said, I've had to go, I'm sorry. So she didn't say it in person. When her mum puts that letter in a baby furnace in the dining room, great symbolism and subtext for thinking you can burn away people's feelings, or more potently, people in general.
Yeah.
So she looks at the problem and she doesn't want to face it because her mum's disgusted by where she is, what she does. And there's this little tiny furnace in the kitchen or dining room, and she pops it in there and closes it. That's what they're doing with the people.
Yeah.
So I saw so much subtext symbolism in it, and I've always valued that because it's like solving a puzzle.
Yeah.
Or it's like finding Easter eggs. Really clever ones.
Yeah, I mean,
layered.
You can, this film won an Academy Award, and whether or not you think it was deserved of that, we'll get into later. But the fact it's got those layers, like I didn't even pick up on the Hansel and Gretel thing, and I've seen this film twice. But from the first and second time watching it, I did pick up loads of other things on the second watch. And I'm sure it's one of those films, it's not one that I'll be rushing to revisit. It's so fucking bleak, it's so dark, but it is also profound. And the layers, like you say, there's so much to be explored within the film. It's actually mad.
Definitely, yeah.
Got more likes?
I'm good on likes.
Yeah, well, mine are likes that we've already kind of touched upon, but sound and background. The Zone of Interest is a very quiet film with limited dialogue. Now, I thought this is really clever direction from a filmmaker who encourages his audience to explore the surroundings on screen. By limiting the words exchanged by characters, the ear is made to hunt for what is happening off screen, and the eye is forced to search for context in the background. Now, I don't know about you, but I found this a fascinating experience where my senses were working overtime to try and get a better grasp of the terrors I couldn't see. Now, I said it earlier, I can't remember being so captivated by offset noise and the unseen. And it speaks to that very humane thing of there's scandal and shock and horror, but you can't help yourself but trying to see it.
Well, that's it then. horror is the only genre really that uses off-screen sound to make the character be like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah.
And maybe some psychological thrillers, etc., but not used to this degree.
No.
Yeah.
And again, on seeing it twice, like the sounds and the things you're picking up on that I think Glazer, the director's almost like, if you're looking, you'll see this. Like, take another look. And it's full of it throughout the film.
Well, I would take my brain, I would take my mind and imagine what was happening and what I could hear. So if I could hear a person screaming, as a woman screaming, I in my mind I saw her being pulled away from her baby, who was going to be killed. Like if I heard the gunshots, I just imagined that it was a group of Jewish people lined up against that famous wall between the two blocks, shot against the wall. You hear a lot of gunshots in this. I think that's early war. I think that's in the early days of Auschwitz, because he was there like 4 years or something. Yeah. It was only towards the end where they wouldn't waste bullets. They would just use Zyklon B in the gas chambers.
It's just mad, isn't it?
It's quite...
and that's what I mean. Like, you're filling in the blanks. Like you're adding exposition to what your ears are hearing and what your eyes are trying to see. You're like you say, like you hear a screaming woman and then you hear a gunshot and then you don't hear the screams anymore. And then you know you're watching a scene and then in the background you see the smoke coming out of a chimney and you know what's happened. Like in the film they say they've got a new process and where the
crematorium,
smoke first and then you see the fire. And the next scene you see out the chimney come thick smoke and then you see fire come out of it, and you know as an audience member what's just fucking happened. And that makes it so much more profound because you know the dynamics of it, you know how that's set up and how the functionality of it and how it works. It's just
it's almost shocking because obviously the world over applauds Germany for its engineering, for its products. It's so efficient. They're so efficient at automobiles, at technology. They're just, when it comes to building things, they're amazing at it. And in this film, you even see their due diligence and how efficient they are at building a killing machine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's scary.
And when they're speaking about said killing machine, he doesn't refer to the people as people.
No.
It's like basically
quotas.
Stock. Yeah, it's
numbers.
500.
Yeah.
Close to 500.
Well, Hearst gets excited at the prospect that he might have to process 600,000 Hungarian Jews. Operation Runestead or whatever it was. Reinhardt, I can't remember what it was called.
Like, how fucking mad is that? Like, it's just fucking... that's what I mean. Whenever I watch anything like this, I can't comprehend it. Like, the scale of it, the sheer scale of it. I don't think anyone, other than survivors, who are sadly, most of them no longer with us because of the amount of time that's passed, other than that, I don't think any of us can really comprehend it. The sense, the attack on the senses, what the trauma, what they've seen, what they heard, what they smelt, what they experienced, all of it. I can't.
And some people survived it all. Like you mentioned in the start of this episode, Joseph Wolf actually survived Auschwitz and then got put on a death march in January 1945. So when they knew the Russians were closing in, they'd forced all the inmates to walk in frigid weather to try and kill them off by the elements.
Jesus.
He survived that. Lived till 74 or something. He was 61 years old. He went on and on and on. I tell you some crazy things. So a lot of Nazi commandants and officers, if they knew one of the Jewish people in the camp was a famous artist, they'd pull them out of the process and get them to paint portraits of their wife, of them, of their kids. They'd use them. They'd utilise them. If they found out they were jewellery makers, they would get them to they'd take all the gold teeth down from the Jews that they killed, melt them down and make them jewellery out of gold. So they'd utilise Jewish skills to serve themselves. So they were good enough to do that.
Oh, that's gut-wrenching, isn't it?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I don't think in a modern world with the way information flows and it's very easy to find out, sub-facts or some statistical facts, that we could ever, again, be brainwashed into hating an ethnicity.
Yeah.
I find you always get your few dickheads.
Of course, yeah. Wherever you go, there's dickheads.
But they can't just spread the information and we have to take them on their word anymore. You can research.
Yeah.
You can find stuff out. That wasn't available then. You'd believe what you saw in a newspaper.
Yeah.
And the Nazis in 32, 33, they had control of the newspapers. They would spread the news about how the reason you're suffering, the reason you don't have food in your fridge and your kids got no money is because of Jews.
And that picked up momentum. And it would, I'm sure there was Germans who fought against it, could see that how wrong it was and died as a result. But out of fear, I'm sure many of them followed suit because they didn't, out of just pure, like you say, believing the propaganda, out of fear of being different to everyone else, wanting to follow suit, they've just gone ahead and gone against what they think and just followed it.
It's maddening, isn't it?
Yeah,
The whole following orders argument is contentious. I don't know. Yes and no. There would have been officers, lower ranking officers and stuff, who, if they felt if they wouldn't do it, they themselves would be shot, etc. And it's if you're taking orders, they could say it's a lot easier to carry out the task if you're taking orders, because it detaches you from the moral issue. It's the most fascinating part of history
and the most
shocking.
Yeah. I mean, I did think this episode would go like this. It'd be light on laughs, but it would be a personal thing for me to have a history lesson with Harold, because I love it when you speak about this stuff, because I really don't know a lot about it at all.
I'll remedy the laughter bit in my dislikes.
Oh, okay, man's promising laughter at a Holocaust film. That's bold.
It's easy to say Jewish because it weren't just Jews. It was Romani gypsies. It was homosexuals, Jehovah's Witnesses. They were all in there to be killed. Russian soldiers, but apparently they lived life to the full once they got into their bunks and stuff in the evening. Because they never knew when their last moment would be death. But apparently, they'd have sex, they'd laugh and dance. It was a madness. I can't imagine how fucking weird it all was to be on the brink of death every day, and then you get in a room, and then you've survived a day.
I guess if you're that close to death all the time and you make it to a night, again, maybe you would celebrate that. Who knows? But I mean, thankfully, we're not going to be in a position to have to experience that. But, there might be almost a sense of mania and hysteria that you've got through the day and you can go back and sleep. It's something that's not portrayed a lot on screen, I don't think. Another thing I liked, you've mentioned it already, is the night vision sustenance spreading.
Inverse world.
Yeah, man. The zone of interest is captured amazingly by cinematographer Lukas Zoll. He manages to make a home adjacent to hell look like something from a fairy tale. Now, the whole look of the film is sharp and crisp, but the sustenance sowing scenes shot in night vision were particularly impressive. We see a considerate child leave hope in the form of fruit to those poor souls confined to Auschwitz. Now, she almost looks like an angel sneaking around hell to try and give prisoners another day of life.
Ooh.
And the striking way in which this is shown really impressed me. And we've touched on it already, but it's just another layer of profundity in a very profound picture.
I could watch a whole film in that.
I would, that that character's based on a real person, and Alexandra. Yeah. I would watch a film about her and her deciding to potentially going against community's wishes and going out and risking her life and doing that selfless act for people she doesn't even know, because that's fascinating. It really is fascinating. I'd love to learn more about her.
Yeah, brilliant. And the fact to be that young and to be that, have a conscience, to be so proactive in doing right. Amazing.
Yeah,
they're characters I can watch all day.
Yeah,
it is hard to watch bastards win for an hour and a half or 2 hours.
Yeah, I was fucking furious at sitting there watching the day-to-day of the hearses and thinking they're going to have to go. Oh, they're going to have to.
You made it sound like the Brady Bunch. Oh, sorry, I cut you off.
That's all right. But
that's brilliant.
It's that you, by them showing the day-to-day and offering that different perspective with the hell being shown in the background, you're almost not sympathise. Sympathise isn't the right word, but you're offered an insight into their day-to-day. And I just wasn't comfortable in that. I'll go on to that a bit more when I get to my dislikes, but please, good sir, give me some of your dislikes.
It disgusts me that a Nazi can have regular bowel movements twice a day, but sometimes I'm fighting for a Malteser.
There's that comedy, as promised, signed, sealed, delivered.
That's just valid.
It's yours.
When he's been sent off to Oraniensburg, which is near Berlin, he gets actually moved out of Auschwitz, but his kids stay behind, because it's a banging manor. The doctor's like, how are your bowel movements? He's touching his stomach. He goes, twice a day. I'm like, dude, the shit you do. You should be so stressed, so worn out, so dying of grief and guilt that you shouldn't be able to shit for 2 weeks. For him to have 2 really confident, regular bowel movements with what he does tells you everything about him. Yeah,
and it also shows that it's so regular to him, and that he's managed to ignore and be ignorant to the crimes and horrors that's going just next to his house, that he's still able to have normal people's poos.
Yeah, if I'm 5 minutes late for work, I'm straight on the centre cot. I'm straight on the prune juice. Man's got to get it out.
Yeah.
I can't even drop a Malteser when I'm a bit stressed. He's on 2 regular bowel movements a day. Well, me up. I'm just saying it's a dislike, second dislike. The punishment doesn't match the crime. Off screen you hear this in German, but I'll give you it in subtitles, etc. What's he done? Fighting over an apple, commandant. Okay, drown him in the river. Wait, hold on. Don't just go from 0 to 100. Why did you skip over no water, no dinner, solitary confinement, whipping? What's the point of asking what he's done if drowning is the punishment for taking an apple?
I mean, I guess it shows the severity, and I mean, Nazis aren't known for being the most reasonable people. So I'm assuming that, like, you're right. If he was found eating an apple, that's it's not a slap on the wrist offence anyway. Anyway, it's just an apple, but...
I would have loved to have seen the guy's face who got told he was going to be drowned in a river for getting an apple. I reckon it'd be like a Gervais sketch. He'd be like, fucking hold on a minute. Yeah. Wait a minute. It was just an apple. Like, what's he done? Fighting over an apple, drown him.
Dave had 2 fucking pears and he's gone over there and he's fine.
Got a fucking pear over there, mate.
Yeah.
What? Fighting over an apple and I got drowned in a river for it? See, that's another part of that clever what happens off screen. That's the commandant saying it as well. That's Hearst saying, oh, just drown him in a river. So casual with it. Oh, what a horrific way to die. And I'd be like, no apple is worth that. Not at all. But imagine like the warning sign for that. I imagine 2 malnourished stick lollipop men fighting over an apple and a big red cross going through it, saying Schnell or attention.
Fuck me.
Drown him in the river. Fucking hell, it's severe.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the whole Holocaust was severe, but certainly an apple.
Don't go that far.
Listen, it's worth saying. We are a podcast that pride ourselves on comedy. We've got to try and find some fucking lighter moments. Have to. It's our brand. We've got to.
Well, I got this. All
right,
go again.
But respectfully.
Yeah, of course. Why is there a Sadistic warrior doing narration in this film? Why?
Little June reference for you there.
Yeah, well, why is it in there? There's no explanation to that. It's not the bike. I ain't heard a bike sounds like that.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
It sounds like a Sadistic from June.
There's a few...
It's haunting.
Yeah.
But the explanation for it's not really there.
There's a few directorial decisions that I don't understand. There's that. There's the sudden seeing all the flowers and then it just turning red. Now, I suppose that could be symbolic. Red's danger, death, threat, all of these things. That I guess that's another tone to the juxtaposition palette where you're seeing beauty of the flowers and then red, the same palette as the flowers, also signifies death. It could be that.
I think it's like the Wilhelm scream. So the Wilhelm scream is a very famous scream. It's used in film. It's an ode to cinema when they use it. But it happens a lot now. So when Prometheus, the trailer came out, and the film itself, it had this and then I started hearing it in lots of films. And I wonder if it's like that. And like in Fury Road, you hear, oh, what a beautiful day. And this new Planet of the Apes film is just like, it's a wonderful day or something. Like I'm starting to hear, like things attached to our ears there. And Sadistic again, whoa. Like you start to hear things. You're like, I think some samples in films are liked, and they're even like, it's like, oh, that sound of that Sadistic is really cool. That sound of the Wilhelm scream. And I think then directors attach themselves to it.
I think you're right. If there's a sound or a phrase that evokes a positive response from a test audience, they might use that. So that, like that Sadistic sound you speak of, that is, you can't help but feel unsettled and unsure when you hear that noise.
It's horrible.
So maybe they've used that. Maybe they've sort of seen, well, that was really effective. Maybe the director, Jonathan Glazer, saw it in June and was like, that something like that would work to portray terror or injustice.
Because they represent terror. They're fanatics. They're nothing to do with morals. It's all about warrior class and stuff. And the Nazis thought they were warriors.
They're assholes.
Well, the Nazis were, yeah.
Yeah.
Any
more dislikes?
I'm all tapped out. Schindler's List is in my top 20, but I've also enjoyed and suffered The Pianist and Son of Saul. And Zone of Interest is just another bleak as they come movie about one of the darkest blemishes on humankind. And for that reason, I think Society of the Snow should have won, if anything, because it was a bit different. And it's a story about hope and not another story about how ugly we can be. Now, that's not to discredit this film, but The only difference being it's clever in the fact that everything happens sort of off screen. The shocking stuff happens off screen. But because I've seen films like Schindler's List and The Pianist, I filled in all them gaps. For me, Schindler's will always be the number one, the best portrayal of one of the most horrific times in human history. This is fighting of sort of a losing battle, in my opinion. Even though Spielbergo said, not since my own film have I seen a film this effective and different. It is a bit different. Last dislike, das Glück der Erde liegt auf dem Rücken der Pferde. That's written above an arch in the horse stables, and the man needed to know what it's meant. I needed to know, and I completely disagree with what it means. The happiness of the earth lies on the back of horses. I think that is wrong. I think that is very
I'm not
wrong.
a horse guy.
I'm not a horse. It's not that, but just because you're riding a horse, that doesn't mean that you're happy. Imagine riding a horse around Auschwitz. I wouldn't. Oh, lovely view. Scream. Lovely view.
Yeah, you
Gun.
are. Yeah, you are right. But what else could he have above there? Live life, love.
I don't know. There was an expression. There was the thing written above Auschwitz on the cast iron. I think it was something like "work fulfills you" or "work makes you stronger" or something. I don't remember the exact translation. Imagine that, trying to inspire people that you're trying to kill. Feel inspired. Come on in. Yeah. Come on in.
It's shit here, but horses are great.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Okay.
Because you answered one of my questions and we're not in the question section yet.
Which one to what?
You said Society of the Snow deserved the Oscar, and that's one of the questions gone.
I do, because...
No, you fucked up my format.
No, we just shortened the episode, but we live in a world where The Pianist and Schindler's List has already come before it, and Son of Saul. Son of Saul was an over-the-shoulder, brutal showing of a Jewish person's experience in a camp, but a very specific Jewish person, one that has to help with the killing and disposal of Jewish people. So I don't think Zone of Interest is overly unique, only in its approach of showing you Rudolf Höss.
Yeah.
But Downfall shows you Hitler in his bunker.
Yeah, I would say its strength lies in its juxtaposition. Its strength lies in its differing perspective. Its strength lies in it doesn't show you a lot, which the other films do. You're made to fill in the gaps. But in terms of films as a whole, I tend to agree with you. Schindler's List is definitely the better film. Better viewing experience. It's not, none of these films, I need to go on record and say none of these films are fucking entertaining or enjoyable. They're not meant to be. That's not their purpose. These films are meant to educate and give you a broader understanding of a horror that we can never truly understand. But yeah, I'll go on to my dislikes, and the top of the list for me is the normalisation of Nazis. We've touched on it already. Now, the Zone of Interest very cleverly offers a different perspective and asks the audience to question how the Nazis managed to live a life of relative normality amongst a landscape of unfathomable terror. This being said, I'm not sure I was comfortable with the humanisation of a group of people who so blindly followed tyranny. Now, we touched on it, but I understand many followed suit out of fear, but seeing these characters on screen wince and shudder at the noises and actively try their best to ignore the onslaught of sounds, sights and smells made me feel really fucking uncomfortable. I'm sure that's the point of the film, but I can't help feel a bit uneasy at the portrayal of Auschwitz admin and the day-to-day routines of those that enforced evil. And you made a comment recently about the banality of evil or something.
Yeah, the painting by Banksy.
And it's asking to see a more sensitive part of that experience through a Nazi's eyes, and I'm not sure I'm there for that. I'm not sure I'm there to think, oh, it's really horrible what's happening there, but at least they've got a nice garden. Like, at least they get their friends round and have a nice time. Or at least he's shitting twice a day. Like, I don't think that's as interesting as that shift in perspective was. I'm not entirely convinced that I want to see it. And I think that's my overwhelming, overbearing dislike on the film. It
is, but there's no, it's extremely true and relevant of the time, because there's no way you could persuade 20, 30 million Germans to do something so horrific if there wasn't the threat of consequence.
Yeah.
So it can't just be that every German at the time was evil. It can't be.
You're totally right. We've seen those stereotypical Nazi villains, those almost pantomime characters, time and time again. So you are right. Every person is a great character. No one person is one thing. Even the biggest assholes in history would have had a redeeming quality, and even the most loveliest people you've ever met have got a dark side and an element of their persona or psyche that makes them a bit cuntish. It's just the human experience. It's what we are as humanity. And I do appreciate them exploring that, but still throughout the whole film I was just like, when you see these characters on screen wince at the sounds and like try to block out what they're seeing and smelling and sort of let ignorance steer the wheel and try to ignore it, I don't know, it did roll me up the wrong way, but that is totally the point of the film.
They did a science experiment once. They got a bunch of actors in to sit in a chair and pretend to be hooked up to an electric shock. And this actor would sit opposite a person who had no idea they were an actor, had no idea that there wasn't actually an electrical shock. And then there would be a commandant type character between both of them. And this person would tell the newcomer to press the button that's going to electrocute the actor. And 75% of the people would do it. They would press it. And the person would act like they've been electrocuted. And they would do it. They would follow suit. And only 25% wouldn't do it. So you think like Stanford prison experiment as well.
Yeah, fascinating.
You give them the space to do what probably comes to their nature. Like, it's a human thing. It's we're not, there's not people that are just because they've never committed a crime, never hurt anyone, that they can't or don't have it in them to do it.
Yeah. I think in times of peril and struggle, and when the threat of fear is looming, people will be more selfish than they would ever like to think they could be.
COVID, the worst case.
Great example. People
wanting to get brownie points for ratting on someone for not wearing a mask or for not following the rules fully, but also at the same time not having the facts. That person might have had asthma.
Yeah.
Just like this. Yeah. Taking it on face value, taking it on the word of one crazy bastard that a Jew is the reason for all your shortcomings.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's mad, isn't it? Really is mad.
Yep.
Another dislike, sound onslaught. Now, as I said in my likes, the use of sound in the zone of interest is genius. Yet the continuous baby screams, gunshots, background yells, engine revving and dog barks made it difficult for this sound-sensitive soy boy to handle.
Dog barks.
The film achieves exactly what it sets out to do, but if you struggle with invasive noises, you're going to struggle here.
I'd rather listen to this than someone eating.
Hot take.
Yeah, totally. 100%. This is a film. Okay. I'd much rather hear all of that horrific shit that helps the storyline than listen to some prick in the cinema chewing on a hot dog.
You did a fantastic save. Yeah.
What a fucking save. That was genuine.
Now you've got me rolled up. You listen. Those assholes that eat nachos at cinemas. Come on. Popcorn's barely acceptable.
Take their shoes and socks off and shit. Hate them.
Mate.
Hate them.
Let's not talk about the hate
Look at our starting prejudice on food-eating cinema goers.
Yeah.
Grazers.
Let's start a war against sock and shoe taking off nacho eating cinema dwellers.
Fuck pigs.
Yeah. Final dislike. I knew 10 minutes in this was going to be a struggle to do a podcast episode on. And for what it's worth, in the midst of doing this right now, I think we've done a bloody good job. Mm-hmm. You've thrown some nuggets of comedy in a very serious subject matter, and I think we've handled it quite well. But The Zone of Interest is a heavy, depressing film that asks you to do a lot with your eyes and ears. It's incredibly well made and thought-provoking, but reviewing a movie that offers very little in terms of entertainment is a tricky one. The Zone of Interest has an abundance of bleakness, and whilst I deeply appreciate what this film does, it was always going to be hard to make an hour of entertaining podcast content.
I don't know.
I think so.
I don't know. I felt comfortable talking about this one only because I've always been fascinated with history.
But man's got knowledge.
Not really, just layman's knowledge, but just things that fascinate me.
But it's doing a podcast, and if the listener's interested or not, I'm going to say it anyway. But some films, it's really easy to just sit here and shoot the shit with you. Whether it's a film we love or despise, it's those ones. Polar opposites are the easiest to do, because you're either passionately loving it or you're passionately hating it. If you passionately love it, that comes with an element of pressure. If you're passionately hate it, you've got full freedom to just be as nasty as you want about it.
I write, the least I've ever written is when I despise a film.
Yeah.
Well, because it's so easy to recall what I dislike about it. But when I'm trying to tell people why I like something, that's when I'm nervous.
But in the world of content creation, and as content creators ourselves, I think it's important to show that we can cover all sorts of films. And I think we've covered this well. I'm quite proud of what we've done so far. I don't know about you. But we've done an episode on Flea, another self-plug incoming. Go and check that out if you haven't already. But I think it's important to show a balance. It's important to show that we've got variety and we can do an episode on all sorts of different films.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I just self-sucking at this point.
Yeah.
I've got some questions. You've already asked us the first one. You thought Society of the Snow should win above this, and I agree with you. So we'll move on.
Yeah, how rare for a Uruguayan film to win Best International Picture, but it's not rare for German films. You know, a lot of German films have won awards, and they have a bigger cinema.
This is a British film, but exactly, there's so many of films set in this horrific world has won big at the Oscars.
Well, British even more than German films.
Exactly that, yeah. The Zone of Interest offers perspective into the everyday life of a high-ranking Nazi commandant. What average day of a controversial or tyrannical historical figure would you like to see portrayed on screen?
Can I do serial killer?
You can do whatever you like, Dad.
Bundy, when he's not in the mode.
When he's just cooking pancakes.
Like, that's the mad part.
Yeah.
He goes to sleep.
He does.
Between kills, between beheadings, between necrophilia, that man goes, oh, I'm like, hit the sack.
Yeah.
Maybe brushes his teeth, don't know. If you know, if he was charming enough, I'm sure hygiene was important to him. So that man brushes teeth and manages to fall asleep.
Yeah.
And then wake up, yawn, stretch, go into a room and eat some toast.
Yeah.
Amazing. And you could do the whole thing as well. You could do the news reports in the background while he's making toast of a body found. You could do him reacting to the sound of a police siren thinking, is this the day? Like, you could do exactly the same with Bundy.
Yeah, I think...
The big TB.
The big TB, the mad dog. Yeah, I think it's that. What this film does, if nothing else, is it sort of asks you to look at the mundane day-to-day of someone doing something far from day-to-day normal occupational things. He's spreading evil. He's killing people. He's killing hundreds of thousands of people.
Millions.
As a day, well, him individually, a day's work is killing hundreds of thousands of people, which is mad. Yeah. And like what this film does is he finishes his shift. He goes home. He has dinner with his family. He goes for a sleep. He has 2 shits a day. He does all of these normal things in an abnormal world. And that's what I just thought is an interesting question. And yeah, the TB, Ted Bunds, was a good answer. My answer for that was Genghis Khan.
Oh, yeah.
Just what is he do? What's going through that man's head when he wakes up before he's just killing fucking bare people on horseback? Like, is he thinking about dinner?
Barbarian.
Yeah.
Absolute barbarian.
Yeah. The Zone of Interest is another impressive entry into that A24 film backlog. What are your top 3 A24 pictures?
It's probably still some of the earlier ones.
Yeah.
Lighthouse.
One of mine.
Because it's different.
Yeah.
Very different.
Very different.
Black and white, great theatrical performances, odd. Uncut gems.
Ooh.
For the...
Strong.
What would you call it? Anxiety inducing.
Yeah.
Very rare a film gives that to me.
A very different performance from Adam Sandler, yeah.
Until he cried.
Yeah.
When he cries in the office, it became Big Daddy, and I was like, why? No, don't ruin a great performance.
Yeah.
Don't ruin a great performance.
Yeah.
Past Lives was different, slow, but effective in terms of I really related to the love that they felt in it. Midsummer for the sort of dark comedy shock.
Yeah.
Like, I laughed more at Midsummer than I was scared or shocked. Like, I found it brilliant that it was set in daylight.
Yeah.
All them films have got very unique ways of telling their story.
Yeah, I mean, when A24 do it well, they do it really fucking well. And I've got 2 of those 3, The Lighthouse and Midsummer, and I've gone for Ex Machina as well. I love that film as well.
I've never seen.
Oh, you haven't seen?
I've seen clips.
Oh, that's good.
I've seen clips, I've not seen.
I like that film.
Donald Gleeson, Oscar Isaac.
Yeah. Alex Garland film, definitely worth your time. What would you rate The Zone of Interest out of 10, please?
7.
Okay. Yeah, I thought you was going to be there or thereabouts, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's hard to not appreciate what the film does well, but it's hard to ignore how fucking bleak and grim and stuff it is. I've gone slightly higher and gone a 7.5. So, yeah, I mean, it did a lot of things I didn't see before in terms of using sound and what you can't see. That impressed me. So that's why I'm probably a little bit higher than you. So that gives The Zone of Interest a total score of 14.5 out of 20. If you like your films to be bleak, brutal and bold, or if you've ever wanted to put your senses to the test by having them work overtime on what you can't see, then The Zone of Interest could be a film for you. The Zone of Interest is available to stream on Amazon Prime. Consider watching this one if you enjoyed Son of Saul, Schindler's List, and The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas. Should we play a game?
Yeah!
Give it a name, give it a name, give it a name now. We birth a plot and then make a trailer. What the plot?
Action! Grab your tools, son. This one's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
The year is 2050. Due to a pandemic of people disassociating, becoming addicted to mobile phones, apps, toxic fake content, and the allure of influencing, social media has been made illegal across the globe.
We've done this.
No, we haven't. This is different.
We've done this. Sean Bean was the commandant.
Little plug. Go back and listen to whatever that episode was, but I can't remember. Tarquin and Tabitha Haverthwaite Mills are spoilt siblings that amassed a huge following across social media at the peak of the social sharing pandemic. They would continuously post about every single aspect of their life, all day, every day. Unable to move on from their addiction and false sense of fame, the Haverthwaite Millses use their accumulated wealth to try and fill the void left by the loss of validation from their faceless followers. Due to the falling of social media, many ex-influencers and those affected by the removal of daily scrolling addictions find themselves homeless. The brother and sister duo lure these homeless people into their home and kidnap them. They then expose these unfortunate vagabonds to forced in-person influencing. They torture their captive audience and kill any of the abductees that don't respond to their daily updates in the way they want them to. The hostage homeless people have to compete with one another to stay on the siblings' deluded friends list. Those who fail get blocked, aka dead. One of the homeless people is an ex-cop called Jason DeSanto. He ended up on the streets due to a messy divorce with a wife who has also succumbed to the long-lasting dangers of social media influencing. It is up to Jason DeSanto to save himself and the poor forced followers that are held hostage by the fake fame-obsessed Haverthwaite Mills siblings.
Haverthwaite
Mills.
How did you get that name? Where did you land on that?
I don't know.
Why did you make your life harder?
Because I just wanted to. I never give character names, so I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to Tarantino this dog and make it even more difficult for myself.
John Goldenlocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what you got for me, Bubba?
I've already got the title, which is rare. That usually is the last thing to come, and usually I spend time lying to you, the audience, and myself that I'm talking about directors, and the whole time I'm thinking about the title.
And so that is a delicious happenstance when that happens. Oh my God. Haverthwaite Mills. Yep.
It sounds like a food delivery service for pensioners. No? Are we not in the tree with the nest?
It can be. That's not the story, but that can be a spin-off.
I'd call the film Thumbs Up for two reasons. In the Caesar times, when gladiators have fights, sometimes you could let them live or die with a thumb up or a thumb down, and they are letting the homeless live or die by a like or a thumbs up or a thumb down.
I'm warming to this, yeah.
Yeah, that was the easiest one I've ever had to do.
Yeah.
And, it stands out a little. Thumbs up, odd. And sounds positive, isn't.
Thumbs up if you like a post.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
The relation to that and your fate is probably the greatest answer I'll ever be able to give you. Because next week it's going to be Beauty and the Blood or something.
Yeah. The classic. Yeah.
I take Ben Stiller directing as it's satire, and I like his work recently with Severance. I think we both used him since Severance as director for What the Plots, potentially. I feel like we may have, but I don't mind using him again.
I don't think I have, but I have definitely got the man jotted down for use in future.
And when you said meine Bruder Sister...
Yeah. The Haverthwaite Mills is...
I almost went easy and went Gyllenhaals.
That would have been easy.
But then I thought, no, they're too old. They are too old.
For this, yeah.
They must be mid-early 40s.
Yeah, they've got to be maximum our age, I'd say.
I wouldn't believe them if they were sitting on the screen tapping away at their phones, finding value in social media. But two people who I do...
Just let me intervene there. Social media's been banned, so it's fake social media. They're doing it in front of people and torturing them if they don't like it the way they want to.
Fake social media?
Yeah, social media's dead.
So what are they doing?
They are kidnapping homeless people.
To do
and
what?
To influence them in replacement of... So they're not well brother-sisters. They're mad. So they've replaced social media by taking people hostage, and they're like doing influences as if they were recording for YouTube. So showing them their cooking.
But there is no online presence.
There's no online presence because it's illegal now. You can't do social media, and as a result, in this mad story, the world's gone to shit.
But they once experienced social media to have that.
Yes. And they miss it deeply. And I do think in 10, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, whatever it is, there are going to be a lot of disassociation from people that have found their worth in recording to a faceless audience.
You liken social media to smoking, no? Huh?
I think it's got damaging stuff.
I definitely think so as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's things you can't do now without a phone. Like, it feels off to go to the toilet without having a phone.
Yeah.
Feels off to go to bed without reading some old shit.
Yep.
2 actors who look ridiculously young. They annoy me beyond belief. I'm not saying there's no talent in them, but I can see them 2 fuckers doing this, and they're actually plugging each other. They're bumping each other as well in real life. And I know they're brother and sister, but I think that dynamic of work. Zendaya and Tom Holland both look 12, but they are between 25 and 35.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
What's crazy 2 little siblings doing this?
Yeah.
They're the only ones that are social media. Didn't Tom Holland have his famous little, "Hi guys, I'm coming off social media for a while. No worries."
I don't know, probably.
Having a break from it.
Probably.
Yeah. You seem disappointed.
What?
With the casting.
No, not at all.
Well, say something.
That's good casting.
You didn't say that.
But you told me to say something.
I know, but you didn't say it when I said it. What was you...
Oh, I was just checking my notes that I got everything you said jotted down, but you're going to tie it up in a nice package anyway.
No, I ain't finished, man.
All right, we'll keep going.
I've got to do Jason DeSanto.
Oh, fuck yeah, you do.
Steve Zahn.
Yeah.
The biggest dog on earth.
No, I love
him. He's weathered enough, he's cool enough to play a good guy, but a tired good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that'd be interesting to see him. He does a lot of comedic roles, but I would like to see him as a tired, withered old dog.
Mm.
I watched the fight for the Planet of the Apes recently, where he plays one of the apes.
He's exceptional with it.
Fuck me.
I've seen him do it with all the dots on his face,
Yeah.
the real actor, not the CGI version,
Yeah.
and the acting is phenomenal.
I've always loved Steve Zahn, and I don't know why he's not in more things.
First thing I ever saw him in was Evil Woman comedy.
Yeah, I saw that shit.
Brilliant
yeah,
in it.
Yeah.
It killed me. Made me laugh. A bloody Neil Diamond tribute band.
The best.
That's writing. That's comedy you don't really see anymore.
Nope.
So yeah, I'd have Steve Zahn as Jason DeSanto, as the annoying young, obsessed with social media, Zendaya, Tom Holland, little psychopathic couple. And I'd Ben Stiller directing because of his work in Severance, and like the Caesars of old and / the thumbs up shit that we do on social media, I would call it thumbs up.
Hey guys, we're the Haverthwaite Mills, and you join us today as we're cooking our famous enchiladas. If you're a fan of our channel, click like and subscribe. Hey, what are you doing?
Take the tape off his mouth. Take the tape.
Ah! Oh, it looks like we've got a live comment from one of our lovely followers. What do you have to say, friend?
Listen, download, like, subscribe, all of their stuff. They're amazing, particularly the video about getting the stone out of avocado.
Well, yeah, I'd like to say that sounded genuine, but it didn't. Hey, Tabitha, go and give me the machete.
Wait, is Tom Holland Tabitha?
I didn't know which one I was being.
If that's if the voice you've been doing Tom Holland, that's amazing.
It doesn't matter.
Go back into it, let's go.
In a world without social media, 2 siblings take matters into their own hands.
Tabitha or Tarquin, whichever one you are, this follower, he's not seemed to be a good friend. He's not on our top friend list. He's not liking our content. He's not giving us a thumbs up. He's being really difficult.
Look, whatever you got plans not gonna work on me. Leave your games for these hobos.
You will be our top follower. You like it or not.
The new film from Ben Stiller and starring Zendaya, Tom Holland, and Steve Zahn. Thumbs up.